Cthulhu Fthagn! Live from the Army of Cthulhu studio in war-torn Miami, New Zathia, it's General Olmstead!
Cthulhu Fthagn. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Fthagn Talkin. I'm your host, General Robert Olmstead, your absolute ruler, and the fish you fantasize about at night. We have a very special episode for you. Tonight, we're going to talk about a powerful predator that looms in the dark. Majestic, isn't it? It's a spotted owl. I bought myself one just a few days ago. It was delicious. But also looming in the dark is vampires, who I would argue are more of a parasite than a predator in the classical sense of the term. Oh sure, they hunt and stalk prey and all of that, but just take a look at them. There's far more they're sucking than just our blood. And no, I don't mean in that way either. And I'll ask you in the future to please not use footage from my last trip to Romania. What happens in Transylvania stays in Transylvania. What I was referring to is their state in cinema. See, once vampires enjoyed a popularity that went vastly beyond their allotted 15 minutes of fame, basking in a celebrity they gained with their cool powers and decadent sexuality. Not unlike the Australians or Latin Americans, and just like those long-forgotten cultures, their day abruptly ended, leaving their population confused to why they suddenly became banal and uninteresting. In the correct proportions, this Byronic pathos was charming and intoxicating. It paled in comparison to my own sexual magnetism, of course, but it used to be rather cute. But as cinema continued to churn out the unending productions of the erotic dead, eventually their broodiness exceeded their sexiness, and then this thing happened. And they call me a monstrous villain. The vampire community was wounded, and thousands of fans turned their attentions to even more boring animated corpses. Now, much like forgotten child actors, vampires wreak havoc upon the earth, leaving misery and destruction in their wake. All of this I would find rather endearing if it wasn't for their stubborn refusal to swear allegiance to Grandfather Cthulhu. To top it all off, there's been reports that they have been preying on our soldiers and citizens. So, I want to make this perfectly clear. No one gets away with killing an exsanguinating army of Cthulhu personnel except for me! That's my privilege and mine alone! And maybe Kathy's, but I stay out of her business. So, in response to this defiance, we're gonna put these little pests in their place. And that place, ladies and fishmen, is in the sun. And if any of you overgrown mosquitoes out there are watching this and think you want to take me on, bring it! I'm so saturated with garlic, you'd think I just ate an Italian grandmother. Because I did! Just try biting me. That's all for our show tonight. Join us tomorrow where we'll talk about Cyclopean and non-Euclidean architecture. Are you really using those terms correctly? Good night, folks, and yaw.